What's going on YouTube? C0L3 here, back with a brand new video today, as y'all can tell by the title, man. Hey, man. The death of the alpha male. Hey, man, shout out to Austin Dunham here. I've been watching this content for a very long time. And I find it very insightful. I find it very impactful. And I find it very knowledgeable. You get what I'm saying? So, excuse me. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below. Join the movement. More videos coming out, more reactions coming out, more just talking videos. You know, I be overthinking this YouTube stuff, yo. I really do. Like, I really be overthinking this stuff. Like, I'm like, dang, I gotta have the perfect this, I gotta have the perfect that. I gotta be perfect. And bro, I'm to the point now where it's just like, forget all that. Just be myself. Just post the content. And whoever rocks with it, rocks with it. Whoever doesn't. But at least you're posting the content, bro. That's what you gotta do for YouTube, y'all. And I'm sorry I'm rambling before we get into this video. But remember, that's what you gotta do for YouTube. You gotta just post. Like, your mind is your biggest enemy. When it comes to social media, when it comes to stuff like this. Your mind is your biggest enemy. Because your mind will always tell you something's not good enough. Or it could be better. Or you could do better. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, bro, like, you gotta just take stuff for what it is. Like, live in the moment. And I know you want to plan for the future, but sometimes you do gotta live in the moment, dog. So just live in the moment, man. Post that content. Post that idea that you have. Post. Because you only live once, dog. You only live once. And that's sad to say, but it's the truth. We only got one life, man. We only got one life. So why not go up to that girl that you always like? You know what I'm saying? Just say hi. And I'm speaking to myself here because I have my moments. I'm not perfect, y'all. I be having my moments. You get what I'm saying? Where I freeze in the moment or I think about it too much. Oh, nah, she probably don't like light skins, you know. That's the typical, hey, man. It was a point in time where they was bashing light skins. You get what I'm saying? They was coming for us heavy. And, you know, that kind of deeply, that built some insecurity in me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, dang, they don't really like light skins like that. I apologize, y'all. I just went on a tangent. But we're going to get into this, the death of the alpha male. Don't mind me, y'all. I be getting into tangents like that. Not too often, but yeah. Let's get into it.
To be a badge of honor. If you were called an alpha, it meant you were a leader, someone men respected and women admired. But in 2025, call yourself an alpha and people will clown you. If you even search alpha male on YouTube, you're not going to find tutorials or masculinity tips. Instead, you'll see hundreds of videos calling so-called alpha males fake, insecure, and even cringeworthy. The term went from a symbol of strength to a meme. So what happened? How did alpha male go from respected to rejected? In this video, we're going to break down why society turned against the idea.
Okay, before he gets into his ramble, why did it go from respected to rejected? I think it's because of the unrealistic expectations. You get what I'm saying? You know, there's I've seen videos where people say, like, if you pick up a bag the wrong way, you're not an alpha male. How to pick up a bag like an alpha male. How to, you know, if you don't make six figures, you're not an alpha male. Like, where did all these concepts come from? I'm confused. Where did all this stuff come from? Is that really what makes a man? So a man is defined by his bank account, how he looks when he picks things up, and, you know, he's not defined, and, you know, his muscles. So he's not defined by, you know, his characteristics, how he treats people. He's not defined by, you know, his integrity, his discipline, his hard work. You know what I'm saying? Because, you get what I'm saying? It's unrealistic. Like, not everybody's going to be a high earner. So now we classify people that don't make a certain amount of money as not alpha. All right, so scratch that. Say money doesn't exist anymore. Who's going to be an alpha male in the world? Money gets erased off the planet right now. It's just people. Who's going to be an alpha male? Some of these YouTubers, I'm not saying Austin, but some of these guys out here probably would not be alpha males if money didn't exist. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm rambling.
Alpha, the rise of the new masculinity trends like the Sigma male, and what it actually means to be dominant in today's world. So here's what I want you to do first. I want you to visualize what an alpha male is to you. When you think of an alpha male, what is the first thing or even the first person that comes to your head? Now, as you're thinking about that, I'm going to use Austin AI and really just consult with myself and see what he thinks an alpha male is. What is an alpha male? All right, Austin AI says an alpha male isn't just about dominance or aggression, it's about confidence, leadership, and emotional intelligence. He knows his worth, respects others, and isn't afraid to take charge of life and decisions. It's about being the best version of yourself, not comparing yourself to others. All right, I'm gonna ask one more question. Do you think the term has died in 2025? The term alpha male might evolve, but the qualities behind it, confidence, respect, and emotional strength, will never go out of style. It's not about the label, it's about embodying those traits. You don't need a title to be a leader in your own life. So that's what Austin AI thinks. And by the way, if you want to try this for completely free, the link will be down below in the description. Upgrade your confidence, your dating life, and consult with literally the AI version of me. Now, if we look at the traditional definition of an alpha male, it really just means the leader of a pack. Someone that men admire and that women want to be with. Every young guy wants to be an alpha. Even in movies, the alpha was represented as the strong leader. And once again, the guy that women wanted. In fact, this actually came from animals. The
Yo,
wolf pack.
y'all ever seen Gladiator, man? Yo, Gladiator 2 came out with Denzel Washington. I fell asleep on that movie, not because it wasn't good, because I had did a whole bunch of stuff throughout that day, and I just fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? But if you watch the first Gladiator movie, dog, bro, please watch that movie, man. You'll get it kind of. I think that movie is a prominent example of masculinity. You know, great movie, man. I really loved it. Um, I would recommend that for y'all, man. So just watch that movie, Gladiator, right, with Russell Crowe. It's Russell Crowe, right? Let me look it up. Gladiator. Russell Crowe, and Joaquin Phoenix. Great movie, man. Please watch this. I would give this out of 10, probably a 9. I liked it that much.
The alpha in the social hierarchy was the one that led the group, was the one that everybody else followed. He was the dominant male in the social hierarchy. He's physically strong, confident, and influential. Now, there are also some personality characteristics that make an alpha, such as being outgoing, somewhat confrontational, and assertive. And if you look at movies, you'll notice that they often portray the alpha character, sometimes even as a bully. Think of the jocks in like the teen movies or like the high school movies. That guy is often portrayed as the alpha. Now, when I think of alpha people, all I really think about is those traits. And I truly believe the term alpha in itself is just a placeholder word for those traits that represent masculinity. Some real life examples include military leaders, maybe some entrepreneurs, or even some athletes. But that still doesn't explain the fact why you can no longer call yourself an alpha and why the term itself is just looked down upon within 2025. Now, the first reason why I think this is because there's been a cultural shift within society alongside with the feminist movement. Essentially, masculinity has become associated with toxic behavior. So instead of the alpha characteristics being linked with leadership, masculinity, being strong, being courageous, being confident, it is now linked with things such as arrogance, entitlement, and control rather than just pure leadership. And to be honest, I think one of the most influential people who has had an effect on this, specifically tied to the feminist movement, is definitely Andrew Tate. You know, he's super polarizing, and I think the influence he had on young men, including myself a little bit, right, is sort of changed the behavior of men. He essentially red pilled a whole blue pill society of men who had no idea what the red pill sort of ideology or culture was because they never searched for it. But because Andrew Tate was so popular, he kind of almost instilled these alpha characteristics into the young men. And because of that, the feminist movement started going after him and started really attacking anything associated with masculinity, including calling and being or acting like an alpha male. Now, also, some people say that this is just pure pseudoscience because, once again, this relates to the wolf pack and animal hierarchies, and they're basically saying how this actually does not translate or go into human cultures. But I think it does. We just kind of look at it differently. For example, hundreds of years ago, the alpha in that society would simply just be the king. And if you're a peasant, there's nothing you can do that will make you alpha. So it's purely just based on your social class. However, nowadays with modern society, some might even argue that the president of the United States, especially past presidents, are not alpha whatsoever. In fact, they don't respect them whatsoever. And I think the cause and shift of the politics, alongside with just how our modern society operates from a social standpoint, it kind of makes the word more subjective than objective. Now, not only that, but if we notice, there's been a lot of overuse of the term, especially in dating guru content. I've never used the term myself, but if you search alpha male dating or example alpha male strategies, shout out to alpha male strategies, love them, honestly. But these terms are really associated within that sphere, and I think because it's seen so much, it just led to a lot of skepticism. And then also, many self-proclaimed alphas, they might lack authenticity. Once again, going back to the subjective nature of claiming or being or acting like an alpha. If I say that I'm an alpha male and there's incongruence there, or this person actually thinks I'm a beta male, or just doesn't believe in what I'm saying, then of course that's going to spark a bit of controversy. This is why, even if the term alpha male was accepted by society, you could never really call yourself an alpha male. You have to let society do that for you. Now, I did mention the term sigma male, and I think over time, a lot of guys weren't really associating themselves with the idea of the alpha because it seemed really black or white. Like, I have to be an alpha male. I have to be strong, courageous, strong.
Now, look, Leo, this term, alpha male, it used to affect me when I was younger, because I'm like, dang, I'm not this alpha male. I don't have these characteristics. But to be honest, y'all, this term, I do believe in what he was saying, what Austin was saying, where these words, do, what's the word? Alpha male and beta males do exist in human society. I do believe in that. But to be honest, bro, you keep it a bean, bro. Like, I've heard this one term, man. A king that has to call himself a king is no king. So a man that has to call himself an alpha male is probably not an alpha male as well, man. So you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that, yeah, you not saying that you're alpha male means that you are, but in most cases, like, if you have to announce it yourself to people that you're this and you're that, then you're not really that. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think it's more so presence. I think it's more so confidence. I think it's more so just being who you are and accepting, that you're not perfect and that you're going to make mistakes and that, you're just like everybody else. You feel what I'm saying? So, to me, that's alpha. To me, that's masculine. Not caring about what people think, being yourself, doing things that you like to do. And yeah, that's what's alpha to me. That's what's masculine to me. That's what it means to me. And of course, you have other factors like protecting, providing. Those play a big role into masculinity, into, being assertive, being confident. That also plays into it as well. But I think the big portion is just being yourself, dog. I think that's the most masculine thing you could do. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's just me, man.
Had to be very outgoing. And some guys just didn't necessarily associate it with that term, but they still felt like they were confident in their own way. And maybe they didn't have a lot of friends, but they were still successful on their own path. And this was the rise of the Sigma male. Now, honestly, there's so many ways to describe somebody. And, this whole alpha, beta, omega, if you get too deep in it, it can be a little confusing. But I do believe the young generation, especially Gen Z, I feel like they associate themselves more with the Sigma male, which is characterized as the lone wolf. He's independent, he's detached from social hierarchies. I think a good example of somebody who's actually older, who I might classify as the Sigma male, is somebody like Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson doesn't necessarily have that aura or that strong presence that Andrew Tate would, but he's very intellectual. He can articulate himself very well. He's highly respected. He is confident in his own way. He is successful on his own path. Most people wouldn't say that Jordan Peterson is a beta male, but they probably wouldn't say that he's a alpha male based on what people actually think what an alpha male is. So maybe the Sigma male does have a new place within sort of how men describe themselves. And I also think that's the reason why the alpha male has slowly gone in the shadows. Now, the thing about the alpha male is that I always ask myself this question: are alpha males born or made? And I think about myself, right? Before I learned about masculinity, and especially for my guys who were raised by single mothers, it's almost as if you have to train these alpha characteristics within yourself, because
Nah, 100%.
naturally I wasn't a very confident person. Naturally, I wasn't really a leader. Naturally, I wasn't one to be confrontational. Even today, I'm really not that confrontational. And before, I would let women and people walk all over me. And I think that's honestly because of how I was raised. And so I had to really train those things out of me and put these other characteristics inside of myself. Some might call it alpha or just being more masculine. And I think over time, I was able to really nurture myself into that new identity. Even if you look at old videos of myself, I am completely a different person. Actually, I still find myself pretty geeky at some points. Actually, I'm majoring in computer information systems at my college. So I would still say I still got a little geeky side of me still. And some of you guys might comment on that too, not just internally, but also obviously externally. I think it's a combination of both. You can be born through your personality type to be more extroverted, confident, more of a leadership sort of guy, but also a lot of guys just aren't born with that naturally. So they have to really train that identity into themselves. But you know what's funny? There's actually 4 different masculine archetypes associated with this that I've learned, and we're gonna go through them really quickly. Up first, we have the guy on the surface.
100% correct, man. I think you're not really born a leader. Um you have to train yourself to be a leader. You have to study leadership. You have to, you know, cuz usually, all right, let's say you have a father in your house, right? You grew up with your father. Naturally, he's the leader, of the household. I would hope so. Some fathers aren't nowadays, but let's just say he is, right? He's the leader. So what you naturally do is you look at your father, you study your father. Okay, this is how my father treats my mother. Hopefully it's in a positive manner, because sometimes it's not. But yeah, this is how my father treats mom. This is how he speaks to people. This is how he interacts with people. This is how he does this and does that. So naturally, I think when you have a father in the household, you kind of know how to be a man and how to be a natural leader. You know what I'm saying? But when you're robbed of that opportunity, you kind of seek it from other people. You kind of have to create your own way. You kind of have to create your own tones here. You kind of have to create your own pathway, because you haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? You haven't had that intimate relationship with your father, and you haven't seen it. So I think that's important, for any man. Maybe, and it doesn't just have to be, guys with single moms. Maybe your father was abusive, or You know, he wasn't the best role model still. You still had him in the household, but he wasn't the best role model. Still might have to seek out other, mentors, role models. That's what I had to do, dog. I had to do that. I had to seek out, people to talk to. I had to seek out mentorship, going to therapy, and I highly recommend you guys go to therapy, y'all. I will speak it until the day I pass. You know what I'm saying? Go to therapy. Heal yourself from your trauma. Heal yourself from those restraints that you put on yourself every night before you go to sleep, man. Bro, you gotta heal yourself, man. So I'm always recommend it. I'm always recommend going to therapy. I went to therapy, y'all. If that makes you feel any better, I went to therapy. You get what I'm saying? I went to therapy, and it really changed my perspective. It changed my mindset. It changed how I looked at the world. It changed, you know, just me as a person. I feel like through therapy, I was able to make content like this now. Through therapy, I was able to be myself, start to understand that what is it that I like? What is it, you know, that I like doing? I started to be more authentic. I started to, save people. I had a big problem with telling people no. You know what I'm saying? I started to be able to do that. Like, nah, I don't want to do that today. I started to be able to do things that I wanted to do and not have to please people and, conform to everybody else, man. So just heal yourselves, man. I really want y'all to. Because it's possible.
Looks alpha, but
It's
internally
possible.
he has the beta behavior. And I'm sure you probably know different guys just like this. I found that a lot of rappers who act tough but aren't really respected or still trick on women and let women walk all over them tend to fall within this sort of archetype. Where on the surface they look like the masculine man, but like internally they still have that soft spot. They're still a bit weak. And then also we have the beta on the external. He just doesn't look like a guy who is worthy of respect. Maybe he's underweight, maybe he's skinny, maybe he's overweight. Like your initial impression of him isn't this guy would be a leader. But internally, he has more of those alpha characteristics. He's confident, he's charismatic, he does like to lead. And these are sort of the guys who honestly are never respected. Some might call them the nerds who follow Andrew Tate, but actually never apply his advice, or they sit and scroll masculinity content nonstop, and they have the idea of what they want to act like, but physically it just doesn't express itself. And so I also think because of that, you really have to show a strong congruence between your look on the external and also your behavior. Now, what's funny is that this can sometimes backstab you just a little bit because with myself, I am muscular, I wear jewelry, got tattoos. And so a lot of the time, people might be just initially intimidated by my look, especially women. But when they actually talk to me, I always get the saying that you're actually a lot different than what I expected because they expected me to be super arrogant, too confident, full of myself. And
I've gotten this. I'm trying. What example do I have? Yeah, I've gotten this, bro. I get judged, bro. To be honest, man, I get judged a lot based off of how I look, right? I think a lot of people are intimidated, especially when they see attractive people. Cause think of it like this: as a man, like you see an attractive girl, what instantly comes to your mind? Oh my God, she's so bad. She won't. You feel me? Excuse my language. Oh my God, she's so bad. Like dang, like I don't know. I can't. I probably can't get her. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? She not on the scale for me. You know. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. So what do you think women are saying when they see attractive men? Like, oh my gosh, like I can't get him. Like, nah, he's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, that's just what happens, dog. When you look attractive, when you have, you know, because they assume that you already getting women, so then they assume that since they assume that oh he's big headed, he's arrogant, but men, there's some men out there that are big headed and arrogant, but bro, I'm like, you feel me? I don't got time for that. Like, I be chilling. Like these girls, man, they don't mean, not to say they don't mean anything to me, but I know I've realized, bro, that life, not life, but women come and go. They just come and go, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you meet somebody in a moment of time, you have a good time, and the time might be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. You never know. So
These things are also associated with the whole alpha masculine identity. Now, for the third archetype, we got the true alpha guy. He's alpha on the external, but also internally, he is the alpha confident guy that people respect. Obviously, this is the ideal sort of archetype that most guys want to be or should aim for. And at number 4, we have the beta beta, the B on B, the guy who lacks confidence, lacks the presence, has no sex appeal, like externally and internally. He's just not that guy. And this guy can definitely make a transformation over the course of time, but he definitely has a lot of work he needs to do. So, guys, I don't think the alpha is dead. I truly just think it's evolved. I still don't think it's right for any guy to call themselves an alpha. I do think society sort of dictates that for you. But
agreed.
at the end of the day, I do believe that every man should strive to be a leader, strive to be competent, strive to be confident, and be congruent externally and also internally with his behaviors. Because once again, you don't have to call yourself an alpha, because if you really are one, the world will definitely let you know. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out AI Austin completely.
100%. I wanted to play this back one more time.
I wear jewelry, got tattoos, does like to lead. And these are sort of the guys who honestly are never respected. Some might call them the nerd stop, and they have the idea of
I got called a nerd the other day. I got called a nerd the other day, y'all. I felt some type of way. I'm like, what? Did she just call me a nerd?
what they want to act like, but physically it just doesn't express itself. And so I also think because of that, you really have to show a strong congruence between your look on the external and also your behavior. Now, what's funny is that this can
Facts. Yo, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. I can't stress it enough. Like when you attractive, yo, you have to act attractive too. You can't, bro. You can't look a certain way and then not be confident. Oh my gosh, bro. It's like, bro, you'll just repel all women, bro. Nobody's gonna want to talk to you, dog. And trust me, I'm on the hand of that. I'm prime example. And I know with some of these videos, it seems like I'm shaming myself, but bro, I'm just keeping it being like, to be honest, bro, you know what I'm saying? If I was, outgoing and all this, then I would say that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not. So I'm not finna sit here and lie to y'all and act like I'm something I'm not. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still utilizing bro, I didn't even realize that I was attractive, that my looks mattered, that people, look at me. I didn't even realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a point in time where I was like, my looks didn't really matter that much. But now I'm realizing, bro, people like the way, women like the way that I look. Trust me. Trust me. That's why they put up with the stuff that I've done in the past. And that's why they've, you know what I'm saying, done things. Come on, bro. Like,
backstab you just a little bit, because with myself, I am muscular, I wear jewelry, got tattoos. And so a lot of the time, people might be just initially intimidated by my confidence. You he's alpha on the external, but also and some of these things are also associated with the whole alpha masculine identity. Now, for the third archetype, we got the true alpha guy. He's alpha.
man, I wanted to see the other two. So he said, I wanted to see which one. I think he said like one where cause to be honest, y'all, I think that I have alpha male characteristics. I'm not calling myself a alpha male, but I feel like I can be. But I fall into that category where I just don't like. I don't be trying. You know what I'm saying? So I might be what they call a Sigma. Self-reliant, independent man who operates outside traditional social hierarchies, often viewed as a lone wolf. Hey man, it's pretty accurate. Who seem to be seeking leadership and dominance, anonymity and self-reliance. Hey man, interesting concept, man. Thanks for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below. Join the movement. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.